Raging 3. Raging 4. Raging 4. Hey, come on, bro. Come on. Not a problem. Not a problem. No weapon, no glove, no belt, no ring or amulet. I have a 4 different blood notch here. And I do not have a faltering here. So, I mean, like, guys. It's definitely still, it's for sure survival. It's not even a mission. Look at my gear, bro. It's so shit. I get none of this. It's just, that's fine. It's fine. Look at that. Looks good to me, you know? Okay, so 3.2 patch notes are out, and there are nerfs across the board to many builds, including custom stuns. But first, let's go over the changes to ultimatum. In 3.28, ultimatum will now have a modifier that prevents people from being able to block. So over here, right? What this means is that unless you're playing Gruelling Gauntlet, it has no effects. It just means you just don't pick it, right? Or if you're not block build, just pick it. So this has no effect unless you're Gruelling Gauntlet. If you are Gruelling Gauntlet, it is bad, but it also doesn't instantly brick your ulti. For example, to actually get bricked, you need to get this block modifier as well as Ruin, as well as other Ruin mods, right? So it will take multiple rolls before it gets bricked. And maybe you could roll Ruin the whole way through. Round 11, you get the block modifier, done. Take and leave it, right? Take and leave. So in that situation, it might not be too bad, but it's definitely bad, right? It's definitely a bad thing for Gruelling Gauntlets. Now, custom stun, the biggest change here. But Notch has been nerfed. So it now rolls from 20 to 30 rather than 40 to 60. Honestly, a gigantic nerf. Very, very, very heavy-handed. But it's not too bad. It only affects early game the most, right? Early game has the most significant impacts on its survivability. But as you saw in the intro, you know, this build here, I initially showed you the intro without the shield. I've done a few more ultis in this setup, but now with no shield, right? So I am using a blood notch, 40%, and no unfaltering. So this is equal to a post-nerf 30% plus 10% 40%, right? So total 40%. And I mean, if I can do it in this gear, I'm sure you can do it in better gear, right? Weapon, you can have, let's say, a early game, the sword, Rise of the Phoenix. No, what's the Phoenix one called again? I forgot my own unique. Oh god, what's it called again? Raise of the Seventh Sun. Any glove with life, any belt with life, a Immortal Flesh, any ring here, so I recommend Loris Lantern, very good, you know. Any amulets, any shield. Rise of Phoenix, you know, put it on. And my gear here is just some res attributes, some res attributes. That's it. I have no life in my gear, nothing, right? You can only get better. You can't make it any worse. Okay, so it's not that bad. And as I can mention here, so it was initially beforehand it was considered quote unquote hit immunity. Now it's only 66% hit immunity, okay? So it is definitely nerfed. Here they are, early game bad, late game, irrelevant. Because the fire's on, you don't even notice it. Savaging nerfed, of course that was bad, but of course I showed you the video. I did actually take out the burn damage support afterwards, so that is more than a 12% damage nerf. You did out, right? You just lose the link, basically, kinda. But then, actually, you lose the link here, but you also gain the link back. Because you can, the new gem thingy there, you could give it +1 gem link. So, TLDR, no change, right? No change. I just realized that now. No change. They also did a bug fix on cold criticals can now stun. So, that could be a buff. I'm not sure. We shall see. So for custom stun in general, it is a targeted nerf for some portions. Okay, now to Chieftain. Chieftain got buffed. This looks bad. Like you might think it's bad, but I've been asking for this honestly. Sometimes your Kinecraw just does too much damage, and I would rather have an increased proc chance. Now, the thing to notice from here is that in 3-2-3, 3-2-4, 3-2-5, 3-2-6, we did not have Nebulous. And our damage after 3-7 got more than doubled with Nebulous. So, when you go, and basically, if you play the build in 3-5, 3-6, it's the same, but now you double the chance to explode. It is a huge QL. I like it a lot, right? So, that's a buff to me. That's definitely a buff. Now, what is not a buff? Simulacrum changes. These two are huge nerfs Simulacrum. Huge. Like, absolutely back-breaking nerfs Simulacrum. So, we've been using the Fire Forces. And I think we might be the only build in the game that ever used the Fire Forces. Okay, I don't know if any other build that uses this node. It got nerfed. So this is a targeted nerf towards Custom Stun Chieftain. Because I don't think there's another build, right? And this build, so this node plus the Fire Mastery, both got nerfed. TLDR, you cannot really refresh your Knights anymore, which means for early game Simulacrums, you can't cheat it. You cannot cheat a pop on Kosus and carry through the wave to kill it. That is gone, right? If you're a high investment endgame build with real gear, strong gear, this has no effect on you. Irrelevant. Your Knights last for, I think, 10 seconds, endgame. And so, Kosus and so on, they are already dead within 10 seconds. So actually, almost irrelevant, okay? Almost irrelevant. But early game, very bad. You cannot do early game sims anymore. You have to have good gear, real gear. Percentage solutions, you could try Wildfire and try and use the meme node here. The life burn instead. I think it's a meme, so you know what? Get rid of it. And what does it actually mean? It means that we are now playing Cast and Stun 2.0. So the thing is that, right, in 3.25, at the end of 3.25, I did put out a Cast and Stun 2.0 guide. So, as I showed in the thing, Cast and Stun, Detonate Dead, generic version, non-transfigured, untouched. Okay, so that uses Unearth DD, which we can show here. So, helmet here with +2 gems, Unearth, up to 32, 34. We really want 26, right? At least 26, so you can drop the empower. 25, like empower 1, empower 2, and enhance 3. Gives you your unearth 26. And that's enough to help proc and then explode to kill your phantasms. And that's your damage, right? So, in that aspect, build's not touched. Okay, so TLDR, Castle Sun 2.0 is alive. It's both nerfed and buffed, so I consider it adjusted. Now we have our last nerf today. Gladiator from last league, the Festering Resentment version, it's actually completely dead, in my opinion. So the whole point of the build is to block Ultimatum, which got nerfed, okay? And Foulboard and Bomber got nerfed as well. You can't roll the Poison Prolif anymore. I don't know why. Was it really that big of an issue? Apparently so. It's gone. And also PB was also nerfed, so that's gone too. So that is definitely over. Right? GG. That is GG. However, I'll mention it now because I didn't rewrite it down. But if we look towards certain sentences, we can see that Saboteur is buffed. And for those of you who have been here for a long time, you may remember I have a build from 3.24 right here. This build, Chain DD is still alive, so this is consideration of a revival. If I have time, I'll test it. I'm out of time. But yeah, I'll try my best to test this build here. This build was very successful in 224. I think it's going to be good. Honestly, it's going to be good. So that can be a replacement for a different variation of Poison DD. And I'm going to recap this off with a bit of maths. So basically, we're going to have to get more recoup. So recoup required is 54%, or sorry, 65%. We can second anoint a belt for 54 total. And I don't even have this, honestly. On my character here, I only have Infused Flesh. And the way we circumvent, well, I say circumvent, but we make up for the early game lack of survivability, is to use our fast nodes here, right? These nodes are incredibly strong. So increased flash hardness gains, great. But also, this mana fast node has the fast mastery of recover life on flask. That is gigantic. So that is it is now our number one survivability. So it is humongous to survive with. So combined with our Blood Notch 40% and this, early game, no problem. No problem. IMO, Chitin is well alive. Nerfed for sure, but definitely still alive. Alright, I'll see you guys in any experiment video / guild guide soon. That is the patch note here. Ciao, ciao.